Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Market Mindset. It's Andrew, and we're doing another reaction video, this time with Josh Hawley, as he reacts to his ban on Congress trading stocks, it getting shot down. So he put forth a bill. It was a bipartisan bill to say let's not have stock trading for Congress members. Seems pretty reasonable. Like if you get into Congress for 4 years, listen, you can't trade for obvious reasons. You're going to have inside information. You're going to be putting rules and regulations that will specifically apply to whatever sector. If you're sitting on the Energy Committee, that or the arms or Department of Defense or whatever it happens to be, if you've got inside information about a policy coming forward and you start trading on that, that's very clearly defined. You and I would go straight to jail for that, or at least be heavily investigated. Now, this comes about. And it's not new. This has gone on for a long period of time, but certainly it was Wall Street Bets, which kind of made it more humorous, as the Wall Street founder made a fund that mimics Nancy Pelosi stock trades, because she was one of the main culprits that people picked on because she was quite visible. But that being said, this is bipartisan problem, so you don't have to feel like it's one side or the other. But let's watch to see how this goes.
It turns out she did have stock. She was trading that stock. It included companies that DOE has direct oversight of. Now, Senator Welch mentioned earlier that Americans are surprised at some of the ethics requirements that are or are not in place at the U.S. Supreme Court. This is one when I talk to people at home about members of this body owning and trading an individual stock, or members of the executive branch owning and trading in stock of companies that they're supposed to be overseeing. People are shocked that it's even legal.
All right, let's pause there. So not only does this highlight corruption, but it also highlights hypocrisy. Now, I know some people will get upset because they heard Obamacare. Let's leave out the Obamacare issue. But we can talk about rules, and it's a common theme we've heard for the last couple of years is, rules for thee, but not for me. We saw during the lockdowns, that was a constant. And whether you want to look at, say, Boris Johnson in London having parties and extravagant parties, and he got in a lot of trouble for that. There was repercussions, which is great. But in Canada, the U.S., we didn't see that. We've had whether it was Gavin Newsom having parties, Nancy Pelosi as well, the gatherings. They would have no masks on, and then as soon as camera rolls, they put masks on. We saw this hypocrisy constantly. Now, depending on what news source you watch, you may not have seen that, but this has been an ongoing theme for quite some time, and you can tag this onto a ton of issues. The one that is political, and I'll just mention, is immigration. People who want quote unquote open borders. There's plenty of video you can watch online where someone will go ask someone who's very pro open borders, would you take on a migrant? Would you take them into your house? Every single one will say no. And if you try to nail down a politician who is in favor of that, would you let them move in next door? Would you let them use your guest house? Every single one will say no. This is what drives people nuts. Not just that should we be doing something, it's the hypocrisy from people who want to enforce rules and not have to adhere to them themselves. So it is those two key things, corruption and hypocrisy. And for me, they go hand in hand. And it gives us kind of summary, or summarizes the overall chaotic, environment we're in, the mixed messages we're getting all over.
So my proposal is a simple one. If we're going to talk about ethics reform, let's make sure we're looking at ourselves as well. So I'm proposing here to amend this provision, this bill before us, to include a ban on stock ownership and trading for members of Congress and senior executive branch officials. It's a bipartisan bill. Senator Gillibrand and I have introduced it as a standalone bill. I've converted it here to an amendment, and it would impose across-the-board ethics reform and make this uniform in the sense that we would be addressing ethical lapses that are real and pressing in our own body, in our own house, as well as the executive branch.
I'm going to stop here because they actually just go through the voting, and it's primarily overruled. No one wants to do it. And most people would feel that it's pretty reasonable. And whether you're right wing or left wing, to say, yeah, if you get access to information, you shouldn't be able to trade on it. Aren't these people making enough money. They get all these PACs, super PACs, money flows in. None of them seem to be very poor. Let's just put it that way whenever you hit Congress. So why do they get to do this while we don't get to do this? It shows that two-tier system, the elitist kind of overview that people have. And nothing drives you further apart from feeling like you're being ruled by, instead of this is one of a country coming together to solve issues. It really causes rifts. And most people think it's pretty reasonable to say, while you're in Congress, perhaps you can only buy ETFs that just trade the overall market. You can have certain things, but you can't actively be trading. You certainly can't be trading any stock that's in the sector or portfolio that you are advising to, or putting public admin policies around. These seem like obvious types of things. And to give a complete resolute no, and then once again, this is bipartisan. So this isn't just Democrats, or it's Republicans as well. And we're going to do a lot more on this because, when the corruption's this bad, it becomes kind of funny. So you can actually go to a website called capitaltrades.com. And if you look at it here, it has an incredible wealth of knowledge. This will break down the trades that different politicians are doing, the committees they sit on, the states they're in, you name it, they give news flow. This site is pretty incredible. So we always talk about the mindset, having an investment portfolio or strategy. One could literally be following the trades of some of these incredibly talented stock pickers. We'll show some of those results up here of some of the track records some of these people have. So literally, it will list the published trades and at what time. So if nothing else, it's a fun site to look at. If you want disclosure, this is it. This gives it all. So we're going to play around with this as well for our subscribers. So make sure you tune in with us, you subscribe, and join us. We'll do the work. We'll set little portfolios to see how they do, just like the Nancy Pelosi fund that was doing well, or as we joked around before, the inverse Jim Cramer fund that was doing so well from Wall Street Bets. So join us on the website, subscribe, and tell us if you enjoy these reaction videos and this type of content.